My girlfriend said, "You read too much. It's nerdy and unattractive." I smiled. I'll keep that in mind. Then I stopped helping her with her master's thesis she'd been struggling with for months. Her panic when the deadline approached and she couldn't find the answers. Original post, I, 31 male, should probably start by saying, I've always been the bookish type. Got my master's in literature 5 years ago. Work as a technical writer for a software company. Not exactly exciting stuff, but it pays well, and I genuinely enjoy dissecting complex information and making it accessible. My girlfriend Melissa, 29, and I have been together for almost 3 years, living together for the last 18 months. She's in her final year of a master's program in public health administration. When we first met, she said she loved how intellectual I was. Funny how things change. For the past 8 months, I've basically been her unpaid research assistant. Every evening after work, I'd help her understand journal articles, structure arguments, find sources. Her thesis on healthcare accessibility in rural communities, I'd spent probably 200+ hours helping her with research methodology, data interpretation, statistical analysis. Not complaining. That's what partners do, right? 2 weeks ago, we were at her friend Natalie's engagement party. Group of people chatting. Someone mentioned the new bookstore opening downtown. I got excited, started talking about this biography I'd been reading about Jonas Salk. Melissa laughed. Not with me, at me. God, Derek reads everything. It's honestly kind of nerdy and unattractive. Like, we get it, you're smart. The whole group went quiet. Natalie tried to change the subject, but the damage was done. I just smiled and said, I'll keep that in mind. On the drive home, I brought it up. That was pretty harsh back there. She rolled her eyes. Oh, come on, don't be so sensitive. It was just a joke. Calling me unattractive in front of your friends is a joke? Derek, you know what I mean. Sometimes you go overboard with the book stuff. It's just a lot. People think you're showing off. So my interests embarrass you? That's not what I said. God, why do you have to analyze everything? See, this is what I mean. Not everything needs to be some deep discussion. Cool. Message received. That night, she asked me to look over her methodology chapter. 20 pages of dense academic writing that needed serious restructuring. Can't tonight, I said. Gonna watch the game. She looked confused. But it's due to my advisor on Monday. Sure, you'll figure it out. And that's where my new policy began. Complete cessation of all academic support. No more late-night editing sessions. No more hunting down obscure sources. No more explaining statistical concepts she should have learned in her research methods course. She's tried asking a few times since, hey, can you just quickly read this section? Or, what's that website you use for peer-reviewed articles? My response? Sorry, too busy being nerdy and unattractive over here. The thesis is due in 6 weeks. From what I can tell, she's maybe 60% done, and what she has needs major revisions. The methodology is weak, her literature review is missing key studies, and her data analysis is, well, it's not good. Last night, she was crying at the kitchen table, surrounded by printed articles. I made myself a sandwich, grabbed my book, and went to the bedroom. Aren't you gonna help me? She called out. With what? My thesis, I'm drowning here. Thought you didn't like nerdy. I'm just respecting your preferences. Am I being petty? Absolutely. Do I care? Not really. You can't have it both ways. You can't publicly mock the very qualities you privately exploit. Update 1. The entitlement has entered the atmosphere, folks. After my post, I stuck to my guns. Complete academic embargo. Melissa's been scrambling, and it's been illuminating. First, she tried the sweet approach. Made my favorite dinner, first time in months, BW. Wore that dress I like, kept mentioning how brilliant I am. When I didn't bite, she switched tactics. Derek, I need the login for the university library database. Don't have it anymore. What? Yes, you do. You used it last month. That was your login, remember? You gave it to me to help with your research. Her face went white. She'd been using my alumni access because she'd forgotten her password months ago and never bothered resetting it since I always did the searching. Then came the guilt trips. Her mom called me yesterday. Diana called me. Derek, honey, Melissa's really struggling. She says you're refusing to help with her education? Diana, did she mention why I stopped helping? She said you had a small disagreement. She publicly called me unattractive and nerdy for reading books. The same books and knowledge she's been using for her thesis. Long pause. Oh. She didn't mention that part. Shocking. But here's where it gets really good. Thursday night, Melissa had her study group over. 4 people from her program, including this guy Terrence, who she's mentioned has a genius-level IQ, his words apparently. I'm in the living room reading when I hear them in the dining room. So for the statistical analysis section, I need to show correlation between rural hospital closures and mortality rates. Just run a basic regression analysis. Right, but how do I account for confounding variables? Silence. Another girl, Jade. Maybe check if there's existing research. I have the research. I need to know how to interpret it. More silence. Your boyfriend's good with this stuff, right? Where is he? Melissa, loud enough for me to hear. He's being difficult lately. I walked through to get water, smiled at everyone. Terrence tried to flag me down. Hey man, quick question about standard deviation. Sorry, can't help. Melissa thinks academic discussions are nerdy and unattractive. I'm trying to be less of that. Dead. Silence. Jade actually smirked. Terrence looked confused. Melissa looked murderous. After they left, she exploded. That was humiliating. Now you know how I felt at Natalie's party. That's different. I didn't embarrass you in front of people working on your career. No, just in front of our entire social circle. Derek, I need to pass this thesis. My entire degree depends on it. Then maybe you should have thought about that before mocking the person helping you. So you're really going to let me fail? I'm not doing anything. Your success or failure is entirely in your hands. You know, like how it should have been from the start. She slept on the couch. Yesterday morning, I found her surrounded by textbooks, laptop open to a YouTube video titled Understanding Statistical Analysis for Beginners. The video was 3 hours long. She was 12 minutes in and already looked lost. 5 weeks until submission. Update 2. The desperation has reached critical mass, and she's pulled out every manipulation tactic in the handbook. Last week, after her study group humiliation, Melissa went nuclear on social media. Posted this vague nonsense on Instagram. When someone you trust abandons you in your darkest hour. Chash, real love is support, struggling. Her friends flooded the comments with hearts and, what happened, hun? And here if you need to talk. She didn't mention, of course, why I stopped helping. Then Natalie called me. Remember Natalie? The one whose engagement party started this whole thing. Derek, what's going on? Melissa's saying you're sabotaging her degree? I stopped doing her homework for her. If that's sabotage, then sure. She says you're withholding research materials? I laughed. I'm withholding my brain, Natalie. The same brain she called nerdy and unattractive at your party. You were there. Oh, right. That was messed up. Yet you're calling me about her crisis? She's really freaking out, Derek. She might not graduate. Then she should probably stop posting on Instagram and start actually working on her thesis. But the real kicker came 3 days ago. I came home from work to find Melissa's thesis advisor, Dr. Harrison, sitting in our living room with Melissa. Ambush meeting. Derek, Melissa says you've been helping with her research. I was helping, past tense. She's struggling with the statistical analysis portion. She mentioned you have expertise in this area. Me, I do. Would you consider reviewing her work? Not doing it for her, just guidance? I looked at Melissa. She had this smug little smile like she'd found a loophole. Dr. Harrison, with all due respect, isn't the thesis supposed to represent the student's own work and understanding? Well, yes, but collaboration is encouraged. Has Melissa explained why I stopped collaborating? Melissa, quickly, that's personal. She publicly mocked me for being too intellectual, called my interest in reading nerdy and unattractive, then expected me to continue using that same intellect to help her graduate. Dr. Harrison's eyebrows shot up. He turned to Melissa. Is this true? Melissa, it was taken out of context. There's no context where calling your partner unattractive in public is acceptable, especially when you're simultaneously relying on them for academic support. Harrison stood up, looked deeply uncomfortable. Dr. Harrison to Melissa, I think you need to sort this out on your own, and I'll be reviewing your work very carefully to ensure it's your own. After he left, Melissa lost it. You just made me look like a cheater to my advisor. No, you made yourself look like one. How much of your previous work was actually yours? She couldn't answer that. Yesterday, she tried a new approach. Tears. Full-on breakdowns, sobbing. I'm going to fail. 3 years of my life wasted. Student loans for nothing. You have 3 weeks. That's plenty of time if you actually work instead of scheming to get me to do it. I don't understand the material. YouTube University is free. So is the library. Your classmates seem willing to study together. They think I'm an idiot now. No, they think you're someone who relied too heavily on her boyfriend. Prove them wrong. How can you be so cold? You said you loved me. I do love you, but I don't love being disrespected and used. Then she played the ace card. If I fail, I can't get a job. I'll have to move back with my parents. We'll have to break up. I shrugged. That's your choice. You created this situation. She stared at me like I was a stranger. Last night, I heard her on the phone with her mom, crying about how I'm emotionally abusive and controlling her future. Rich, coming from someone who's been using me as her personal thesis ghostwriter. But here's the thing. I found out from a mutual friend that Terrence, Mr. Genius IQ, offered to help her with the statistics. She turned him down because his methods are too complicated. Translation, she'd actually have to understand them instead of just copying my work. 3 weeks left. She's panic-bought 6 books on statistical analysis and research methods. They're still in the Amazon boxes. Meanwhile, I just finished an excellent biography of Marie Curie in front of her, while she was crying over her laptop. Petty? Maybe. Satisfying? Absolutely. Update 3. The extinction burst. Wait, no. Let me use different words. The complete meltdown has arrived and it brought friends. 5 days ago, Melissa's parents showed up, unannounced. Dennis and Diana, in all their glory, standing at our door at 8 a.m. on a Saturday. Dennis, we need to talk about this situation. Me, coffee first, then talk. We sat in the living room. Melissa had clearly prepped them with her version. Diana, Derek, honey, we've always thought of you as family. Appreciated. Which is why we're confused about your behavior. Melissa's entire future is at stake. Her future was never my responsibility. But partners support each other. I did support her. For 8 months, until she publicly humiliated me for the very traits she was exploiting. She made a mistake. She made a choice, and choices have consequences. Diana tried another angle. Derek, you know Melissa has anxiety. The pressure makes her say things she doesn't mean. Anxiety doesn't make you call someone unattractive. That's just cruelty. They exchanged glances. Then Dennis pulled out his checkbook. I kid you not, a literal checkbook. Dennis, what would it take for you to help her finish? I actually laughed. Are you trying to pay me to do your daughter's homework? It's not like that. It's exactly like that. And the answer is no, not for any amount. Melissa walked in then, saw the checkbook, and her face went red. Dad, I told you not to. Your future is worth more than pride, sweetheart. That's when it clicked for me. This wasn't new. They'd been buying her way through challenges her whole life. Have you two always done this? Paid people to solve her problems? Silence. Me, holy you have? Who'd you pay in undergrad? Writing tutors? TAs? Melissa, that's not relevant. It's completely relevant. You've never actually done your own work, have you? She stormed out. Her parents left shortly after, Dennis muttering about young people's pride and Diana giving me a disappointed look. But it got worse. 3 days ago, I got a call from my mom. Derek, what's this I hear about you not helping Melissa? How do you even know about this? Diana called me, said you're being stubborn. Me mom, she called me unattractive for reading books. Oh honey, people say silly things. Would you stay with Dad if he publicly mocked you? Long pause. No, I wouldn't. Then please don't ask me to accept it. You're right, I'm sorry. Diana made it sound different. Meanwhile, Melissa had hired an emergency tutor. Some grad student charging $50 an hour to basically write her analysis section. I found out because she used our shared credit card. I didn't cancel the payment, but I did screenshot it. Evidence is always useful. Yesterday was the peak. I came home to find her laptop smashed on the floor. Me, Melissa, I crashed. The whole thing is gone. Me, your thesis? Everything. 3 weeks of work. Me, backups? Her face went white. I thought it autosaved to the cloud. You didn't manually back up your thesis? At all? She started sobbing, like full body can't breathe sobbing. Please, Derek, please, I know I hurt you, I'm sorry, I'm so sorry, but I need help. I can't recreate 3 weeks of work in 5 days. 3 weeks of work or 3 weeks of the tutor's work? She looked up, mascara everywhere. Does it matter? Yeah, it does. I went to my desk, pulled out a USB drive, and handed it to her. I backed up your laptop 2 weeks ago when I was doing general maintenance. Your files should be there, including whatever work you actually did yourself. She grabbed it like a lifeline. Oh my God, thank you. Thank you. I'm not doing this for you. I'm doing it because I'm not cruel. But this doesn't change anything between us. She plugged in the drive, found her files. Then realized something. Melissa, this is from 2 weeks ago. I've done so much since then. Then you should have backed it up. She looked at the screen, then at me. The tutor's work, it's all gone. Guess you'll have to write it yourself. Novel concept, I know. She didn't sleep that night, or the next. I can hear her typing, crying, consuming unhealthy amounts of energy drinks. Terrence came by to help, but she kept snapping at him because she didn't understand his explanations. 48 hours until submission. Her mom texted me this morning. I hope you're happy. You've destroyed my daughter. I texted back. No, I gave her the opportunity to build herself. Then I blocked her number. Currently reading a fascinating book about the history of cryptography. Might leave it on the kitchen counter. Just to be nerdy and unattractive. Final update, the thesis deadline was last Monday. I watched Melissa submit it at 11:47 p.m., 13 minutes before the cutoff. She looked like she'd aged 5 years and 5 days. What she submitted was, well, it was something. She'd managed to recreate about 70% of what the tutor had done, but without understanding it. The analysis section was a mess of incorrectly applied formulas and misinterpreted data. Her conclusions didn't match her results. It was, to use technical writing terms, a disaster. She knew it too. After hitting submit, she just sat there staring at the screen. It's garbage, she said quietly. I didn't respond. What was there to say? The next morning, she started packing. No drama, no big announcement, just quietly putting her things in boxes. I'm moving back with my parents, she said. Okay. I'll fail the thesis, have to retake the course, another semester of fees. Okay. She stopped packing, looked at me. You really don't care? I cared for 2.5 years. You killed that in one sentence at a party. She nodded, continued packing. The results came back yesterday. She forwarded me the email. I don't know why. Maybe she wanted me to see the consequences. 47%. Fail. Comments from Dr. Harrison were brutal. Fundamental misunderstanding of statistical methodology. Literature review lacks critical sources. Data analysis contains multiple errors in calculation and interpretation. Conclusions unsupported by evidence presented. This work does not meet master's level requirements. But the real kicker was the final note. Ms. Rodriguez, I am concerned about the significant decline in quality from your previous submissions. Please schedule a meeting to discuss academic integrity policies. Translation: he knows she didn't write her previous work. Her mom called me from Melissa's phone one last time. Diana, she's devastated, won't eat, won't leave her room. She'll figure it out. How can you be so heartless? Me, the same way she was when she called me unattractive for being smart. That was words. This is her life. Words have power, Diana. She used hers to hurt me. Now she's facing the consequences. She has to take out more loans, another semester of school. She might lose her job offer. All of that is her responsibility, not mine. You could have prevented this. No, she could have prevented this. By doing her own work, by not insulting me, by being a partner instead of a parasite. She hung up. I found out from mutual friends what happened next. Melissa had to explain to her potential employer why she wouldn't be graduating on time. They withdrew the offer. She's now looking at entry-level positions that don't require a master's, making about 40% less than she would have. Her dad apparently offered to pay for a professional to do her thesis rewrite. The university requires all resubmissions to go through plagiarism detection and an oral defense now. She can't fake that. Some of our friend group reached out, trying to get the full story. When I explained what happened, starting with the public humiliation, most were shocked. Natalie admitted she'd been uncomfortable that night but didn't want to interfere. She always talked about how smart you were, Natalie said. It was weird hearing her flip like that. Terrence surprisingly reached out too. Bro, I didn't know she was using you like that. I offered to help because I thought she was struggling alone. She literally couldn't explain her own thesis to me. It was all your work, wasn't it? Most of it, yeah. That's messed up. And the whole nerdy thing? Man, being smart isn't unattractive. She was just insecure. Plot twist. He asked for book recommendations. Sent him some sci-fi. We might actually become friends. As for me, I'm doing okay. The apartment feels bigger without her anxiety filling every corner. I joined a book club that meets at that new bookstore downtown. Met some genuinely interesting people who don't think reading is nerdy and unattractive. There's this woman Sarah in the group, working on her PhD in philosophy. When I mentioned being into technical writing, she asked if I could recommend some books on making complex ideas accessible. We've had coffee twice. She's brilliant and actually appreciates intellectual conversation. I'm not rushing into anything. Still processing the last 3 years. But it's nice talking to someone who doesn't see intelligence as a character flaw or a resource to exploit. Melissa texted me once more, last night. I understand if you hate me, but I wanted you to know, you were right. I never appreciated what you brought to my life until it was gone. I'm sorry for everything. I didn't respond. There's nothing left to say. She has to retake the entire thesis course. 6 more months, minimum. Her parents are paying, but they made her get a job to cover living expenses. She's working retail while trying to rewrite a thesis she never understood in the first place. Someone asked if I feel guilty. I don't. I feel free. Free from being someone's secret homework service. Free from being mocked for the very qualities they depended on. Free from the exhausting cycle of being used while being simultaneously disrespected. The books I read aren't nerdy and unattractive. They're windows into different worlds, different ideas, different possibilities. If someone can't see that, can't appreciate that, then they don't deserve to benefit from it. Lesson learned. When someone shows you who they are, someone who mocks your passions publicly while exploiting them privately, believe them the first time, and never, ever do their homework for them.